Hello everyone, this is Chrism, and I'd like to invite you to another conversation about your Kundalini awakening experience. In this conversation, I want to have a conversation with you about emotional control. Often with the Kundalini, the emotions are the first body of expression to come under amplification. And these amplifications can be extreme, to put it lightly. I mean, they can be very, very, very extreme. And within these extremities of emotional response to normal stimulus, you can really blow a fairly innocuous situation out of control. And it can get you fired from your work. It can estrange you from your loved ones. It can even go so far as to cause divorces. And so I really want you to understand how important it is to control your emotional response while you're within the Kundalini transformative process. By that I mean you do not fall into the typical ego-based response mechanisms that you have used before, that you've used for your whole life. So I understand this is a bit of a change for people. I get it. I get it. And yet it is absolutely required of you that you begin to use techniques such as forgiveness, tolerance, compassion, consideration, honesty, self-diligence, i.e., the discipline required to monitor yourself, to be that observer. Some of you have already achieved the observer status, and yet you're not there all the time. Be there all the time. Be there in a way that you can just change that channel and observe how you're responding to a given emotional situation. Do you lash out at people? Are you condemning of people? Are you, do you try to defend yourself no matter what? Where in the ego are you responding within a Kundalini amplified emotional expression? There are people that get the Kundalini and then they have these extremely amplified emotional expressions and they're like rabid children. It becomes all about them, it becomes all about what they want, and they're feeling this amplification, so they're feeling a lot of energy, they're feeling strong, they're feeling like they deserve to be right, they deserve the attention that they want to get. And anybody else looking at that is just like going, oh my God, what is this person doing? This is so out of character for them. Okay, and it is out of character for you because typically you are not backed up by such a huge force of power like the Kundalini, amplifying this. And so it is an extreme reaction that is out of character for most people who will have it, and yet the person who is having it won't feel that. You'll just feel how important it is for you to defend yourself or to express whatever ego symptom it is you're expressing, within this amplified emotional context. And so look at all the different emotions that you can have, or combinations of emotion. Anywhere from victimhood to you're the only one that matters in this world, type of ego-based responses. And you can understand a bit of what I'm talking about. You become rabid with your ego. And I use rabid because it is such an extreme word, indicating that the extreme ramifications of that disease. This is how you can become on an emotional level. And, everything from death threats to extreme victimization of, seeing yourself as a victim or victimizing other people emotionally abusive with people. Very, very important that you begin to practice some of the qualities that I've just mentioned. Consistently, all the time, be that observer. See that you're practicing emotional safeties. It really, really works. It really, really works. And often during the emotional outbursts, there's a high level of anxiety that's being experienced by the Kundalini awakening person. And the heart rate is up, and the fight or flee response is pumping through the blood. The adrenaline is pumping through the blood. And yet, even though they're not having as much of a physical-based demonstration of Kundalini amplification, they're definitely having it in the emotional levels. Okay, so become that observer and become to, get into that place where you can question yourself, well, why am I doing this? This wouldn't be normally important for me. What? Why am I doing that? And then make your corrections. Make your corrections. Apologize to whoever you may have hurt, who may have been the target of whatever emotional outburst that you're having. Really understand that people won't understand that you have Kundalini, and you certainly don't want to tell them. That'll just add to their fear about you. I mean, all of a sudden you become this emotional maniac, and they don't know that part of you. And frankly, I think it's best if they never know that part of you, because this is the ego under construction, deconstruction actually. This is deconstructing ego, and the ego is lashing out, and it's being amplified by Kundalini, and so you're kind of like in the middle of a process that you don't even understand. You don't even understand why you're doing this. So it's very helpful for you to become that observer and to really tone down the extreme measures that are being expressed by you emotionally. Tone it down. Practice those safeties. Stay well hydrated. Keep your electrolytes very healthy. Apologize. Be forgiving to others. Be forgiving of yourself too. Be considerate of others and be considerate of yourself. Realize that you're inside of a process, and this process has an agenda with you, and it's the transformation of your emotional body in addition to all other 4 bodies of human expression. So it's not the easiest thing to discern at first, but it does get easier. You do become acclimated to this type of a scenario. And so at first, when you start becoming very, very expressive emotionally, you're crying at the drop of a hat, you're laughing at the drop of a hat, you're mimicking some of the symptoms of manic depressive syndromes. Becoming a manic depressive, extreme highs and extreme lows. And if anybody were to do an intervention on you while you're within these things and you were taken to a medical facility, well, that's what the diagnosis would be. Diagnosis, also known as a DX. The DX would be, bipolarism. From one extreme polar to the opposite extreme polar. And so look at that and realize you're not sick. You don't have that. You don't have that. But it seems to people who do not understand the Kundalini that you do. So be very, very careful with this when you're in the public, when you're at work, when you're with your family, when you're with your friends. Don't go drinking. Don't feel like you can go out and do what do they call in Ireland, a pub crawl. Don't feel like you can go out and go from bar to bar to bar to bar to bar like you used to for entertainment. That's not going to go well. And most often, a person will be kind of guided by the energy, the conscious energy of the Kundalini itself, not to do those types of things. But we resist guidance all the time. We resist, what our parents tell us to do, what our teachers tell us to do, what our bosses tell us to do, what our spouses tell us to do. So, it's not resistance to this type of a correction is not uncommon. What I'm suggesting to you with this video is don't resist it. Change the way you are emotionally. You can do it. You can change your levels of emotional outbursts. You do not need to be that rabid child. You do not need to be this person. Certainly not within the Kundalini. So know this and understand this. And practice your emotional control. Thanks for watching.